And the doors are open, not to the cinema, to your front room, or wherever you keep your big telly, because it's time to catch up once again with one of the country's leading film critics, Van the Man, Van Connor. Our Van Friday when it comes to Freeview film recommendations. He's picked 3. I've picked 3 as well for your delight and delectation. As we say good morning and welcome back once again to Van Connor. Good morning, Van. How's your week been, mate? You seen any good new movies?
I'm all good, thank you, Mr. Austin. Do you know what? It's been a great week for movies. There's like 3 amazing movies out this week, and the best part is one of them stars Timothy Spall, so you know that's a good week.
Oh, is that about the pensioner who goes from lands at the John O'Groats on his bus?
That's it, The Last Bus. It's brilliant. I watched it. It was like what would happen if Jojo Moyes took a crack at doing like a live-action version of the opening scene from Up.
Okay, I look forward to seeing that one then. But let's start with your first recommendation. ITV2, 9 o'clock tonight. My daughters love this film. It's Mean Girls.
Yeah, Mean Girls, 2003 comedy, written by, produced by, and co-starring Tina Fey, who at that point was, I think, the first female head writer on Saturday Night Live. So she produced this with Lorne Michaels. She found this non-fiction book, which I think is called Queen Bees and Wannabes, I think it's called, which is a non-fiction book about high school life. She applied her own high school experience to this, went to Lorne Michaels, and they got this greenlit at Paramount as one of the most biting teenage high school clique satires ever constructed. It stars Lindsay Lohan, height of her fame.
Of course it does. That's why my daughters loved it. She was the queen of the screen back in the day, wasn't she?
She was. Well, this era, this is peak Lohan fame. This is before all the off-screen controversy sort of began with her. Introduced the world to Rachel McAdams and Amanda Seyfried as well, and gave the world a newfound love for the colour pink. It is about Katie, who goes to high school and basically tries to navigate the waters of popularity, specifically the Queen Bee, Regina George. And we've got a clip for you. Just absolutely sending up what this high school clique culture is like.
Here we go. It's Mean Girls. It's ITV2. It's 9 o'clock tonight.
So you've actually never been to a real school before? Shut up. Shut up!
I didn't say anything.
Homeschooled. That's really interesting.
Thanks.
You're like really pretty.
Thank you.
So you agree? What? You think you're really pretty?
Oh, but I don't know.
Oh my god, I love your bracelet. Where did you get it?
Oh, my mom made it for me.
It's adorable.
It's so fetch.
What is fetch?
Oh, it's like slang from England.
So if you're from Africa, why are you white?
Oh my god, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white.
It's so fetch. That's from England. What does that even mean? God.
Stop trying to make fetch happen, Paul. You're not going to make it happen.
Oh dear, good stuff. Okay, so that's your first recommendation tonight, 9 o'clock ITV2, Mean Girls. I've gone for Film 4, 10 past 11. When this came out, I hope this is going to mark a real renaissance in British horror. We've had our moments, but it's not really taken off again and flown the way it did, courtesy of Hammer in the 60s and 70s, but maybe it will. Michael Pertwee stars in this. Sean Pertwee stars in this, rather. There's also Emma Cleary in it as well. Directed by Neil Marshall, who went on to reboot the Hellboy film and give us The Descent. It's dog soldiers, and basically it does kind of what it says in the title. Soldiers on manoeuvres in the woods, and suddenly they're the prey because they wandered into a great big pack of werewolves. It's very funny as well this week, but it is a bit full on, isn't it? Did you enjoy this one? I particularly love the scene for me. They're trying to stop this, to anaesthetise this guy, and they try and do it by punching him unconscious, which is not recommended in the army training medical manual, I wouldn't have thought. It's a great film, this, though, I think.
It's the super glue. It's super gluing the guy's guts back in that gets me every time. But this is, believe it or not, this is one of my go-to good time movies. I love Dog Soldiers. Not only that, Neil Marshall is one of my favourite directors. I think he's the British John Carpenter. I think he's unappreciated in his time. And frankly, the Hellboy reboot is a misstep. I think his films are usually better. I recommend, Paul, for you, Centurion of his with Michael Fassbender. I think that's on Netflix.
Oh, I've not seen that.
That's brilliant.
Is that obviously set in ancient Rome, then, I presume? Is it, or Romans in Britain, rather?
That's Romans in Scotland, of all people.
wow,
Michael
again.
Fassbender and Olga Kurilenko. You'll love it. You'll love that one. But Dog Soldiers is just a blast.
Okay, 10 minutes past 11 tonight. That's on Film 4. And I hadn't realised that Dave was a Freeview channel, but it is now, isn't it? You've got a Dave recommendation, 9 o'clock tomorrow night. And this is another comedy cracker, because we all need some McLovin, don't we?
Well, I've given you probably the definitive 21st century female teen high school movie, pre-Booksmart. So I'll give you the definitive male high school 21st century teen movie Booksmart as well. This is Superbad, which was the first movie ever, I think, co-written by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. So this is how Seth Rogen started to finally go behind the camera after having effectively grown up a teen actor under Judd Apatow. And this is basically a one-night manic adventure of two best friends just trying to make it to and then through the last big party of their high school lives. They're entrusted with buying the booze as well, and they're under the idiotic impression that buying the booze will cement them that epic night with the girl of their dreams in each of their respective cases. But as you point out, it's also the story of McLovin, who's their friend who goes on his own adventure with Seth Rogen and Bill Hader as two of the most brilliantly cast, corrupt Training Day level cops you've ever encountered in a comedy. I've got a clip for you of one of the most iconic scenes of the movie. This is, of course, the McLovin scene.
Okay, he's showing his ID to get the booze. He's definitely not over 21. Here's how it unfolds.
Yo, guys! What's up? Fogel, where have you been, man? You almost gave me a goddamn heart attack. Let me see it. You out or what? No, man, I got it. It's flawless. Check it.
Hawaii. All right, that's good. It's hard to trace, I guess. Wait, you changed your name to McLovin? McLovin? What kind of a stupid name is that, Fogel? What, are you trying to be an Irish R&B singer?
Oh, they let you pick any name you want when you get down there.
And you landed on McLovin?
Yeah, I was between that and Muhammad.
Why the would it be between that or Muhammad? Why don't you pick a common name like a normal person?
Muhammad is the most commonly used name on earth.
Fogel, have you ever actually met anyone named Muhammad?
Have you actually ever met anyone named McLovin?
Great film, that is, isn't it? So that's tomorrow night, 9 o'clock on Dave, which is a Freeview channel, Superbad. Meanwhile, I've gone for great exclamation mark movies. There's a few of the great movie titles. There's classic and stuff, great action. This is great movies. But it could be great action because it's 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Great cast. There's Saoirse Ronan's in it, Eric Bana and Kate Blanchett, of course. And it's called Hannah. It's spawned 3, I think, so far TV series spin-offs. And it's basically about a kind of super soldier dad who raises the ultimate super soldier pubescent adolescent daughter up there in the wilds of the Arctic Circle or somewhere, and then of course the authorities come to claim her and things don't go that well for anybody. Saoirse Ronan is fantastic in this. The soundtrack by the Chemical Brothers is also absolutely belting, and you've got Tom Hollander, who's a bit of a Marmite actor for me. I don't particularly like, but he's very good in this as this hideously corrupt, degenerate bad guy in it. This is such a great movie. This, and I should alert people that there's a very slow European feel to parts of this, which some critics didn't like. I absolutely loved, and I love the kind of weird, almost because it's a very European film, very kind of fairy tale, Grimm's fairy tale feel to it all. It's got real echoes of Snow White and the Ice Queen and the Witch Queen. Great movie, this, I think, Van. Did you rate this one?
Oh, I thought this was a real good time. I love this. This is the answer to a question that I'd had for a very long time, which was, is Joe Wright incapable of directing anything set in the present day? Because he'd only really done period piece things.
He's done Pride and Prejudice, bizarrely.
Yeah, Pride and Prejudice.
And Atonement. Suddenly he turns up with this amazing European action film.
And I think it's really good. I think it owes a debt to things like Leon, for instance, as well. I think Kate Blanchett's incredible in this. Eric Bana, I think I interviewed him around this time. He did that Ricky Gervais thing a couple of years after this. I interviewed him before. But Saoirse Ronan is always a brilliant performer, especially in the hands of Joe Wright. Obviously, that's a relationship that's continued through to this day. But for me, I'll be honest, this always comes down to that Chemical Brothers soundtrack for me. I think that's the highest watermark of this film. That soundtrack is kick out.
And we should say that Joe Wright also directed Gary Oldman as Churchill in Darkest Hour, so he's really got that kind of period drama feel. But this is a cracker. It's on Great Movies tomorrow night. It's from 2011, but for me it's a kind of classic, timeless film. 9 o'clock, and here's a chunk of the trailer.
Who's she?
I'm Hannah.
If we're going to be friends, you're going to have to be honest with me.
I'd like to have a friend. Are we going to kiss now?
You are so mental. Hannah!
Please, I just wanted the keys.
What do you want, Marissa?
I need you to do things my agency will not let me do.
There are people that want to harm me. Whatever you do, promise not to follow me.
I tried to prepare you.
You didn't prepare me for this.
Run, little piggy!
slow. Better.
Sometimes children are bad people, too.
Wow, great film, that, Hannah. That's from 2011. It's on Great Movies tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. And in the wee small hours of the morning, 2:30 Sunday morning, on the Horror Channel, is one of my favourite horror films from the sleazy, cheesy 1970s, from a man called Pete Walker. I don't know if you know much about Pete Walker, Van, do you?
I don't, actually.
As a filmmaker. Now, he directed this. He co-wrote some other films. He started making what was seen as at the times as basically blue movies. They weren't blue movies as we understand them now. It wasn't porn, but they were blue movies that got cinema screenings. So you'd see the odd shot of a backside, you see bosoms, you see people supposedly kind of dancing the horizontal mambo under 1970s eider-downs. He made films like For Men Only, which was retitled I Like Birds, School for Sex, a film called Call It Carol, which in America was retitled The Dirtiest Girl I Ever Met. He then graduated in, he's a real cult hero, this guy. He then graduated in some very good horror films, one of which in particular I think it's a bit of a masterpiece, called Frightmare, with Sheila Keith, who's got a
I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's a very good film. He made The House of Mortal Sin, and he made this one called Schizo, which stars Lynn Frederick, who went on to marry Peter Sellers, Stephanie Beacham, very young in this is from 1976, John Layton, pop stars in The Great Escape, and a great actor called Queenie Watts, a little kind of East End actress. And basically it's about this woman who, she's lost her mother to a dreadful murder, stabbed repeatedly to death, and the man who did it, suddenly released from prison, starts stalking her and leaving blood-encrusted daggers around where she works or around her flat, and she gets more and more paranoid. And then things take a turn for the very strange. You kind of see the switch, the M. Night Shyamalan thing coming, but it's a really, and also it's a fantastic, almost documentary look at 1970s fashion and supermarket shopping and 70s serial killers. So what's not to love? Schizo, 2:30 in the morning on the Horror Channel, early hours of Sunday morning. So set your alarm for that one, folks. You can whiz through the bits you don't like. And we've got a final comedy recommendation from Van Connor. It's on 5 to 4 Sunday afternoon. Actually a great Sunday afternoon movie. This is, of course, one of Jim Carrey's many finest hours. It's The Mask, Van, you've gone for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm low-key obsessed with Jim Carrey. He's just one of my all-time favorite performers. Always has been. And he had the best 12 months I think any actor ever had between the end of 93 and the beginning of 95, I think. He had, Ace Ventura, he had The Mask, and then he had Dumb and Dumber. Now that's a triple header of projects that you can't beat. And by the time he'd done all of that, he was the $20 million, I think he was the first $20 million star. So The Mask was kind of the middle of this trilogy, and it's an adaptation of a Dark Horse comic that wasn't especially well regarded, I don't think. It's worth noting as well, The Mask himself, the character, is Loki, the same character from the Thor universe.
Yeah, the God of Mischief.
The God of Mischief, yes. And in this adaptation, Jim Carrey plays Stanley Ipkiss, the ultimate nice guy who finishes last type, who finds the wooden mask of the mischievous god Loki and discovers that when you put it on at night, it overtakes you and the spirit of Loki comes to life through your physical body. And of course, he does this through manic Tex Avery-like cartoon exaggerated effects and wild movie references and big, ludicrous cartoon set pieces, all the while drawing the ire of the local gangster who wants the mask for himself, and in between them is the ultimate love interest, Tina, played by a first-time actress who happened to also be a then 21-year-old Cameron Diaz.
Wow. I've never quite worked out why he wears the zoot suits from the 1940s in this, but he looks great. And any film that inspired former Shadow Chancellor Ed Balls to do the mask dance on Strictly Come Dancing can't be all bad. This film is smoking, folks. It's on 5, Sunday afternoon, 5 to 4. You've got a clip for us, I think.
I have indeed. So this is the sequence, one of my very favourite sequences in the film. This is the two cops chasing the mask, the two bumbling cops searching his person.
Here we go.
Really big sunglasses.
White corn.
Smallmouth bass.
Wow. Bowling pin.
Mousetrap.
Rubber chicken.
Little to the left. That's it.
I don't know. Any eyeball glasses?
I've never seen those before in my life.
Bazooka.
I have a permit for that.
Picture of Kellaway's wife.
What? Uh-oh.
Margaret!
You son of a... Jeez, I figured you had a sense of humor. After all. You married her? Ah! That's gotta hurt. Get him!
It's kind of Roger Rabbit meets some weird kind of Loki. I mean, it's a great film. There's no two ways about it. Some great recommendations to cheer us all up this weekend, Van. And tell us how we can hear you and our Monday regular Rebecca Perfect in podcast form, because that's dropping later today, I think, isn't it?
At 6 a.m. every Friday, you can find us on all good podcast platforms, The Off-Screen Show, your ultimate guide to everything movies for the next 7 days. And you know what? We've got some bangers to talk about this week, so it's definitely worth tuning in.
Smoking. Thank you very much indeed. Van Connor talking to me, Paul Ross and you guys on talkSPORT, Talk Radio. We're live to 5. But up next, we're keeping an eye on Tokyo. Michael Waydock, our Olympics correspondent, joins us absolutely live with me, Paul Ross and you guys on talkSPORT, Talk Radio, the day before Game Day Live.